City Council Candidate Forum 2011, featuring the 6 candidates running for Cupertino City Council. And now, Rotary Club of Cupertino President Larry Dean.
Good afternoon. My name is Larry Dean, and I'm pleased to be this year's president of the best Rotary Club in North America. With over 180 members, our club is one of the most dynamic, diverse, and productive Rotary clubs in providing service above self to our local and international community. Last year, the Rotary Club of Cupertino raised and contributed nearly $200,000 to our community. More importantly, our volunteers contributed over 10,000 volunteer hours to over 100 different projects. You may recognize our projects that range from building a garden for the Stevens Creek School, to sending a dozen of our high school students to a week-long youth leadership camp, to funding a teen center at our fabulous city library just next door. Cupertino Rotary is growing and welcomes interested citizens of our community to come join us. Our club members are not only the best at contributing to our community, they feel really, really good in doing so. So, if you'd like more information on Cupertino Rotary, please contact me or go to our website at www.cupertinorotary.org for more information and see all of the wonderful activities and projects that we have going on. With that, I'm pleased to introduce the moderator of this afternoon's Cupertino Rotary Candidates Forum, Richard Lowenthal. A highly esteemed leader in our community, Richard is well known for his entrepreneurial efforts in Silicon Valley. More significantly, though, Richard is a past president of the Rotary Club of Cupertino, a former member of the Cupertino City Council, and served as mayor in 2002. Welcome, Richard.
Thank you very much. Well, it's an honor to be standing here with the candidates, and it's a relief to be over here and not over there. I've experienced both. I want to thank you all for coming today. It's great to see the people of Cupertino so engaged. And whether you like cement or hate it, or like dog parks or hate them, it's good to be out here and creating your own fate, being part of the democratic experience. We are indeed fortunate in the city of Cupertino. We've got 6 great candidates who want the job. There's only 2 seats, so it's a little game of musical chairs with only 2 people who get to sit. And you're all part of the process of choosing who that will be. Rotary's role in this is to help inform you so that you can make a wise choice. And so that's what today is about. It's a chance for education. It's a chance to learn a little bit about these candidates. It's a chance for them to put their views in their own words and introduce themselves. I'm not going to do introductions. We're going to let them do that. I have picked, and you'll figure out, some of you, the algorithm for the order. I decided to choose the order of speaking in advance because I didn't want any squabbles later that I was showing some kind of favoritism. The format today will be each speaker will have a 3-minute opening statement. Then I will ask a series of questions. Each candidate will have 1 minute to address the question, and we'll move on to the next. And then at the end of those 3 questions, each candidate will have a minute for a closing statement, and then I'll go blah, blah, blah at the end. So let's get started with the candidates. I'm sure you're all anxious to meet them. And we'll start with a 3-minute statement from Donna Austin.
I knew it. I just knew alphabetically. I guess I was going to be the lucky one. It's so good to see so many friends out there and smiling faces. I was born in the Santa Clara Valley. I grew up in Santa Clara. My father had a little grocery store, Gomes Grocery, and above it he had apartments where the family lived until I was born, and then we moved to a home 2 doors down. I grew up picking prunes, cutting cots, working in the store, and just being sort of an ordinary person. I was always known as outgoing and friendly. I as my greatest accomplishment, I think, was when we finally bought a home in Cupertino. I came here because of the wonderful schools that were here. And our two daughters grew up here. They played soccer, and they were in swimming and tennis and all of the things. And then their education was top-notch. And it's a great place, Cupertino, to raise children. I taught for 42 years. I loved every minute of it. I received the Star Award this year for outstanding service in the community. So along with teaching, being a parent, working in the community, I served also on the Planning Commission for 8 years and 2 years on the Goals Committee. So I've really been involved in the community. I think I've met all of you at one point or another. And you see these same 200, and they're everywhere. And I'm glad to be part of that. In education, my daughter said to her kindergarten teacher, "My mom teaches, my dad works." And I was really hurt about that. And I said, I work hard. And she said, "Oh, yeah, but you love it." Well, I love teaching, and I love Cupertino. And that's why I'm here and why I want to be part of this. I think it's an exciting place to live with Apple coming in and all of the growth that we have, the culture. It's a beautiful place to live. So I say, vote for me, the only woman up here.
Very good. All right, no dispute about that. Our next candidate is Marty Miller.
Thank you, Richard. It's a pleasure to be here today. I've been on the Planning Commission for the past 8 years, working hard to make Cupertino a better place. Land use is a critical area of city responsibility. It's also the most contentious. It almost always involves compromise. During my years on the Planning Commission, I spent time outside regular commission meetings to help resolve neighborhood disputes in the Blue Pheasant area, Oak Valley, Linwood Acres, Regnar Creek, and Lindy Lane. And I've assisted many individual residents resolve land use disagreements with the city itself. I've talked with a lot of residents this election cycle, and the good news is that in general, people are pretty happy about our city. The most frequently mentioned concerns are poorly maintained streets and sidewalks, and unacceptable traffic congestion and speeding at school sites and in our neighborhoods. Basic services clearly need more funding. However, there are a few other things that require our attention as well. The city's finances will take a hit when HP leaves next year, and Sacramento may continue to reduce its contribution to city funding as well. The best way to fill the revenue gap is to revitalize our business districts and grow our retail. Two key retail centers for Cupertino are Main Street and Valco. The more that we can help them succeed, the more we help ourselves by providing shopping and entertainment opportunities locally for residents and increasing sales tax revenues for the city. I also want to facilitate the completion of Apple's new campus. This is a very important project for both Apple and the city, and it's broadly supported by our residents. In addition, the Council must continue to remain vigilant with respect to current and future health and safety issues in the city. I'm an engineer by training. On the Planning Commission, I took a logical approach to decision-making that's typical in an engineering environment. I've also shown my fellow commissioners and the public the respect they deserve. As a council member, I will work hard for you. Study the issues, listen to your input, and bring honesty, integrity, openness, and logic to the council. Cupertino is already a great place to live and work and raise a family. But together, we can make it even better. Please vote for me, Marty Miller, on November 8th. Thank you.
Very good. Thanks, Marty. Next up, as you might be guessing the sequence, Rod Sinks.
Hi, I'm Rod Sinks. I'd like to thank the Rotary Club for hosting this event, and I'm privileged to serve as a new member with so many of you who give so much to our community and our world. I've been a homeowner in Cupertino since 1987, not long after completing graduate studies and some time teaching at Stanford University. For nearly 30 years, I've been an engineering leader, building teams to develop and sell world-class products. Like you, my family and I love Cupertino for its great schools, great people, and great open spaces. Our diverse cultures make Cupertino truly a vibrant and special place. An effective council member brings more than a good head and heart to the job. They also bring their passions. For me, those passions are education, economy, and environment. So it's for these reasons I'm running for City Council. First, as a parent, I share your desire to prepare our kids for a world of great opportunity and challenge. I've been an active school volunteer and booster, a YMCA father-daughter leader for a group of 300, a volunteer backpacking with Girl Scouts and hiking with middle school kids at Yosemite Institute, and finally a longtime scoutmaster to a troop of 130 scouts. The city can and should do more to support our kids by supporting our schools and working together with our school districts on issues such as flow control of traffic for mutual benefit. Second, having managed 2 startups from infancy to success, I know what it takes to create a vision, build consensus, and make it happen. We have a tremendous opportunity now with Apple moving forward on its new world-class campus. How we choose to develop the surrounding area should come with no less vision, creating dynamic public and retail spaces for all to enjoy. We can also attract the next wave of innovative companies to bring good jobs and economic benefits to the city. Third, as someone who loves the outdoors, I'm passionate about protecting the natural beauty of this area. Last year, with a number of concerned citizens, I founded a nonprofit called Bay Area for Clean Environment. Our first focus is the Lehigh Quarry and Cement Plant. Together with the plant, the State Department of Conservation, and the Sierra Club, we now have positive momentum. As the closest community to the plant, Cupertino must also be a leader, working with neighboring cities to ensure that regulatory agencies do their jobs to protect our air, water, and land. My business experience and community service make me both well-suited and prepared to serve on the City Council. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Rod. Very good. If you can guess, next up will be Homer Tong.
Thank you. I first of all want to thank the Rotary Club and, of course, Richard Lowenthal here to be emceeing, to make this possible. I have been a resident of Cupertino for 25 years. I've been a professor of chemistry at the ANSA for 30, and I have lived in the Bay Area for 40 years. So I kind of consider myself maybe not as much as Donna, but an old-timer as well. I have, in 1992, I won a seat on the Fremont Union High School District, and I've been serving on that board since this is my 5th term, and I'd like to report to you that I'm very proud of the accomplishments we've made. For example, the high school is ranked 3rd in the whole state of California, which means that in the Bay Area, we would have to be number 1. Also, in terms of some of the projects we've done, one of the areas you might want to know is that we have installed solar panels in the 5 high schools. As a result, we are will be saving $1 million a year that can go to the programs and for our school district. One of the reasons, by the way, I'm running is that even with my 5 terms of 19 years, I just look out here, and I actually talked to one of you earlier, that you are my role models of public service. You spend so much time and energy, to make our city better. And I salute you because, you are an influence to the rest of the residents in Cupertino. And Cupertino is such a vibrant community that, has so many people on a percentage basis of involvement that we can be all proud. So thank you very much. Here are some other areas I want to touch on. I'm an environmentalist by heart. I have hot water, believe it or not, solar panels on my roof as well. That's why I was very much supportive of the other green technologies and activities. That's, the popular thing to do right now. So I want the city to be kind of moving forward more in that area. I treasure a very safe and clean environment for our city. So I would be looking at traffic patterns for safety and also for any concern about environment in air and the water, that those are issues are sure to come in the future. Finally, of course, to make a city healthy, we need to have a strong sales tax base. So I would like to see that we have more of the new businesses, including Apple, which has been touched on, so I'll stop right there.
Thank you very much, Homer. Gilbert Wong is next up.
Hello, I'm Gilbert Wong, and I am the mayor of Cupertino, and I am running for re-election. I was born, raised, and educated in Santa Clara Valley. I have lived in Cupertino for the past 20 years. Cupertino is a wonderful community where my wife Helen and I are raising our two daughters, Allison and Emily. Cupertino has a bright future, and I want to continue to work with you to realize the promise of Cupertino. Together, we can make this city the best place in Silicon Valley for families to work, live, and play, a Cupertino that we can be proud of. I have been an independent voice on behalf of the residents of Cupertino, asking the tough questions and analyzing all aspects of the issues that came before me on the council. I am running for re-election because I want to maintain our quality of life and our suburban integrity for my family as well as yours. As mayor, I have increased our library hours and kept the library open 7 days a week. I have added 2 new crossing guards and opened a new public park, Frankel Park, as well as the Burling-Sternhardt Park. Looking forward, I want to make Cupertino even stronger. First, by assisting Apple with his expansion plans for his Campus 2. Second, continue our Stevens Creek Trail with its restoration and the trail all the way through the Stockamar property to Stevens Creek Boulevard. Third, revitalizing our retail centers such as Valco Mall and the Cupertino Crossroads. And finally, maintaining our high level of services from public safety to our excellent public schools. I am proud to be active in many civic and cultural organizations, including the Cupertino Rotary Club, the Organization of Special Needs Families, the De Anza College Commission, the Cupertino Chamber of Commerce, and both the Diwali and Fall Festival. In these tough economic times, we need visionary and experienced leadership to lead Cupertino. Together, we can all achieve this dream through our community. I will continue to work hard as your representative on the Cupertino City Council. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Gilbert. We appreciate your brevity too. There's no problem in being shorter than 3 minutes. That's
thank you, Richard.
It helps us finish. And to wrap it up, Chris Zhang.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Chris Zhang, and I'm number 5 on this year's ballot. I'm running because I believe we can do a better job managing our city government. And I think we need someone who is open to new ideas, listens to the people's voice, and someone who cares. My plan is to provide more access to technology throughout the city over the next 4 years, including providing free wireless internet throughout the city. I will help our local business grow. I will work to attract domestic and foreign capital investment into our city, and I support the Apple New Campus project. And I think what we need to do is make sure that the traffic goes smoothly in the area and also in the tri-school area, and I have a comprehensive plan to reduce traffic in the area. I will give citizens more voice at city council meetings without prolonging the city council meetings. And how do I do that? I will provide citizens with a chance to reserve some of their speaking time for rebuttal after their opposing side, such as a big company, has spoken. And I think this is a good model. And I will also use social media to encourage more exchange between our city government and the citizens. I will use tools such as Facebook, Twitter, Blogspot, etc., and so that citizens can comment on how we are doing, and we'll have a chance to speak to citizens and tell them why we make the decisions that we do. I received my engineering degree from San Jose State and my law degree from the University of Virginia. I trained with the U.S. Marine Corps Officer Selection Program, where I learned a lot of leadership skills. And I also worked in the federal government, the Department of Veterans Affairs in D.C., and I helped our veterans make sure that our veterans receive the benefits that they deserved. My wife Jennifer and I live in Cupertino. She works as an occupational therapist, helping people recover from injuries and illnesses. And I have done community services focusing on immigrants' rights. And right now I'm working as a small business owner, a patent attorney, and a volunteer with the city's CERT, Community Emergency Response Team. And I think I can do a lot for our city's future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. I'm sure you'll all agree it's good to get to know our candidates better through their own words. And I appreciate how you're staying on time. Now that we do have a little help, we've got excellent timekeepers here in front of us through Helene Davis using her iPad and Kim Worrell, our timekeeper today. So please thank them for keeping everybody on track. So I'm going to ask 3 questions. The candidates do not know what these questions are, so don't be surprised if they have to think a moment. I'm pausing, using up a little time here because Chris is first up, and I want to give him a minute to rest. But the first question is, it goes to motivation, and actually I found it one of the more difficult questions to answer when I ran for council. That is, why are you running? So that's your question. Why are you running for city council? Chris?
Richard, like I mentioned before, I think our city government can be managed better. I think we can do a better job incorporating other technologies. Cupertino sits in one of the most technology advanced areas, but I don't think our city government is embracing that. And I think we can do a better job. I represent the engineering community. I have an engineering degree. And I think that this is how we make democracy work, how we engage the younger generations, and therefore I'm running.
Very good. A surprise to you predicting the order. Next up is Donna Austin. Donna, why are you running for council?
I'm running for city council because I love Cupertino. And with my teaching background, I believe I can build consensus and bring some order to the council in making decisions. As a former planning commissioner, I understand planning issues. I have worked with parents, children, and other teachers, and really enjoy working with people, and I think I can hear what the public is saying and follow. I'd like to encourage more retail, because with retail we have our tax dollars. I'd like to also continue the Stevens Creek Trail and creek restoration. So I think those are exciting things that are happening in our community, and I'd like to be part of it.
Very good. Next up is Gilbert Wong.
The reason why I want to run for re-election is because I want to make Cupertino a better place to live, and I want to continue in the next 4 years. Number 1, we need to have better economic development, help Apple complete their campus, and help revitalize our retail centers like the Aqua Fashion Park Mall and Homestead Squares. Second, we have a wonderful Stevens Creek Trail with the restoration of Blackberry Farm that Richard Lowenthal first started, and we have an opportunity to finish the second part of the trail working together with the Cupertino Historical Society through the Stockelmeyer property and do Good Creek restoration, which we have leveraged money through the federal government and through our state. And lastly, we have an excellent public school system and excellent libraries. And this community is all about the different communities coming together. And I want to work with our public schools in collaboration to reduce our traffic and also provide good after-school programs through partnership with the City of Cupertino and our school district.
Thank you very much, Gilbert. Next up is Homer Tong.
Okay. I run because, just like you, I care. I care about the city. It's been mentioned that we love Cupertino, and I can say most of you certainly are in that category. But what is important is that with my 5 terms on the school board, I've seen ups and downs, literally. And right now, our school board is working perfectly, really well. Why? Because first of all, we are in the black. We have the stakeholders working together instead of against each other. And we have our superintendent right here, at our meeting. But the point is that it takes time, energy, and really sensitivity to each other's opinions. The way I see it, at the end of the day, no matter how we disagree and all that, we still live in Cupertino, okay? We need to be together. And to make our city great, as is mentioned. But I'm more into the hows and ways of doing it in terms of human relationships. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Next is Marty Miller. Again, why are you running for council, Marty?
Thank you, Richard. I'm running for council because I believe in community service. I believe that if you live in a community and you derive benefits from that community, you have a responsibility to contribute something back to that community. And as we all know in Rotary, it's better to give than receive. You actually receive more benefits yourself by giving of yourself to the community. And this group has learned that better than any other group in town, as far as I'm concerned. As far as the council is concerned, I believe I have some special skills honed over the years from my business experience in marketing and finance and leadership and consensus building, and also my years on the Planning Commission, where I've developed a very keen sense of what needs to be done to make Cupertino even better than it already is. And that's the reason I'm running for council. Thank you.
Thank you, Marty. And we'll wrap up this question with Rod Sinks.
I'm running for council because I love the city. I've learned a lot in business. I've developed many, many skills, and I want to give back to the community. And it's the same reason I'm in Rotary. Startups require leaders with vision, consensus building, budget discipline, and effective communication skills. The ability to seize opportunities and address challenges. And that's what I've done at 2 startups over the last 22 years. Community leaders, when they do it right, inspire and motivate volunteers to come together for the common good. You in Rotary know how many hands working together can move mountains. That's what I've also done in scouting. Not only mentoring those 130 scouts, but all those parent volunteers that it takes to have an active troop. If you think about the city council, it really needs the same people with the same qualities and characteristics. We need to take a long view of where we should be heading while maintaining a high level of services for all of our stakeholders and balancing the budget each year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're doing well on time. So the next question comes from a campaign promise I think they've all made, and many before them, which is that the candidate vows to attract good business to Cupertino. And so I'd like to hear from each one of you what a specific thing, or a couple of things if you like, that you would do in the city to attract business here. And let's start this one with Rod.
Well, okay. In my opinion, Cupertino needs more retail and entertainment destinations. Picture in your mind those places you love to go for shopping and dining. Picture that. Chances are they're vibrant places with attractive atmospheres that offer you multiple good reasons for going. Frankly, neighboring cities over the past decade have done a better job at creating these kinds of destinations. It's easy for the city to approve projects with a heavy residential component because residential development is the most lucrative in the short term. And it is lucrative precisely because our schools are so great. But these same projects put pressure on our schools, particularly our high schools, where the district gets no incremental money for each incremental student. Many smart people in this room, including you, Richard, and you, Orrin, I think you're back there, have been champions of good development and have told me what a challenge it is. Apple's Campus 2 gives us a new opportunity. It can be a catalyst for high-quality development.
Thanks. Next up, again, the question is, what is a specific thing you do to attract business to Cupertino? And next up is Marty Miller.
Thank you. There's a number of things that we can do to attract businesses. The first one is that we as a city can become more business friendly. Just as an example, I heard of a story at a recent seminar of a business owner that was looking to locate here in Cupertino, and it took so long to get the permit, he decided to go to Sunnyvale instead. It's those kinds of things that we need to look at and focus in terms of improving our efficiency and improving the way we do business with the public. Secondly, we need to provide incentives for business to come here. And incentives come in all forms. They can be potentially in monetary forms, perhaps something like giving a break on the sales tax for a few years in order to attract a major business to Cupertino, and other ways as well. And third, we can do more in the way of planning. For example, Apple is moving into a new building. We're not sure yet if they're going to need all the buildings that they are in now, but we should plan for that. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Let's see, next up on this question is Homer Tong.
Okay.
Homer, what are you going to do to bring business here?
Okay, first of all, if you kind of drive around, you see some of the empty stores. What I like to know, if the city has not made a more thorough study, is to find out why people that actually had the businesses here and are leaving. Is it because of the rent? Is it because there's not enough what I call critical mass for them to want to go to a place where they can leave their kids and then they can be doing something so-called the multiple destinations that we need? More specifically, I was talking to one of the owners in the food court. Happens to be, let's say, just selling food, and he was a little bit disappointed in terms of the promotion that he feels is lacking for whatever reason. So I would personally, besides the high tech, which down the road with Apple, I think we're doing pretty good. But the main point is that if we are not doing well, we need to know why. Then we need to solve the problems, and that would be my approach.
Very good. Next up, Gilbert, what do you have in mind to attract businesses to Cupertino?
Thank you, Richard. Cupertino is a great place to do business, and everything is all market driven. We're very happy to have Steve Jobs come to the council chambers to announce that he wants to remain here in Cupertino, and we're going to work to do that. We also want to collaborate with the Cupertino Chamber of Commerce and work together with our economic development manager, with Kelly Klein leaving. We're looking forward to having a new person on board, because that is kind of like a conduit for someone to come to City Hall and ask, I'm looking for a space to rent. We know that the per square footage here in Cupertino is very expensive, and that's why it's very expensive to rent here. But it is a destination place. We have approved TJ Maxx. We have approved Islands. There's an application for a Safeway to come into Homestead Square at the corner of Homestead and De Anza. But it's all market-driven, and we all have to be very patient. But if there's anything that the city can do together in partnership with the Economic Development Manager and the Cooper Chamber of Commerce, the City Council is going to work together.
Thanks, Gilbert. And Donna, what would you like to do to help us attract business?
I think retail is very important. We need to attract retail by actively seeking them out. When I talked to Kelly Klein, she said the biggest incentive is to streamline the process and make it easier. And I know that the city is in the process of putting everything online for permits. And I think retail, they want to come to places like our beautiful city that they can thrive. And when Apple comes in, they're going to need a place to stay and play, and we need to be ready for them. And that's what I think.
Very good. And the final word will come from Chris Zhang.
I want to help our local business succeed, but let me just say that I want to do so without interfering with the residential neighborhoods, without interfering with their lives. But I do want to help them succeed. I'm a small business owner myself, and my idea for having a wireless internet in our city, I believe, will attract a lot of business to our city. Customers will like it. The business will save a lot of money without having to do these things themselves. As an immigrant myself, I will work to attract foreign capital to our city. I hear a lot of complaints from foreign investors that it's hard to invest in this country, and I want to make it easier for them to do that in our city. And I also want to increase our public safety. I think people should be able to go shopping without having to worry about their cars being broken in. And that's what you read a lot about on the Cupertino Courier and local newspapers. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Chris. Feel free to applaud. I don't mind a little interruption. I'll take it as all for me. So the next question comes from my two daughters. So I raised two daughters here. They've moved away. But as two of my more important constituents when I was serving, what they were always asking was almost the counterpoint to this decision, which was there's nothing to do in Cupertino. So the next question is, what would you do to make it more fun to live in Cupertino? And that's not the usual question we get, but I think it's on the mind of a lot of people. You know, why should we hang around? So let's start that question with Gilbert Wong.
That's a very good question, Richard, because I also have two young daughters as well, too. So I think it's easier that what are you going to do with a 6-year-old and a 12-year-old? We have excellent places here like Bowmore at the Valco Fashion Park Mall that you can go bowling. You also have Chuck E. Cheese. I know that, a lot of you are older. But we have a lot of young families who are here that wants to have a good place to be at. The other thing is that we have a lot of good public parks, from Memorial Park to our new Franco Park, and the other thing is that the brand new Blackberry Farm. The restoration that we did is wonderful. My daughter enjoys going to the science camp. She enjoyed going swimming at the new renovated Blackberry Farm, and that really attributes to a wonderful, strong staff that's led by our senior manager, Dave Knapp. Thank you.
Very good. Donna, you're next up on this question. What do you want to do to make it more fun to be here in Cupertino?
The first thing I do is take my grandchildren down to McClellan Ranch, and they love to see the animals. I walk through the gardens, throw rocks in the creek. I brought them right here to the front of this building they love the fountains, running through the fountains. Our library, they're fascinated with the fish, the aquarium. It's beautiful. This place is a fun place to be, and they love to see their grandmother. And it's a very attractive place. And yes, we could probably have fancier places for them, but they just love what we have. And it's not crowded down there either. And all the way through Blackberry and the creeks, they just love it. It's a beautiful place to be and have fun.
Okay. Rod Sinks, what would you like to change here in Cupertino to make it a more fun place to hang out?
Well, I think Cupertino is a lot of fun. If you have a mountain bike, you can go on Fremont, get up to Fremont Older. If you enjoy Blackberry Farm, McClellan Ranch, you can grow vegetables. It's a wonderful place. I would extend our trails. I think there's a lot of value to Cupertinians in walking. If we can get from the bay into our hills, that would be a wonderful thing. I think it's fun when we have, as I was talking earlier, we have outdoor dining experiences. The experience of really feeling like we can get out of our cars and spend an hour or two browsing businesses and really enjoying the experience. Think of those places again. Let's create one of those in Cupertino, or 2 of them, or 3 of them. Valco represents 1/3 of our retail space. What could we be doing better? What could we take advantage with Apple? Finally, for adults, I think fun would be relieving traffic congestion around our schools. Thanks.
Very good. Very clever. Chris, what do you think? What could we do here to make it a more fun place to be?
You know, Richard, I agree with Rod that Cupertino is already a pretty fun place, and I want to keep a lot of the traditional events that are taking place in our city, including the July 4th fireworks. But I do want to provide more multicultural events throughout the city because I believe that Cupertino is a very diverse place, and it's important for us to learn more about each other so that we can work together more closely, more efficiently. And this goes back to the public safety I talked about. It's not fun when you have to worry about your car being broken in. So I want to increase our public safety and reduce crimes in our city so people don't have to worry about these things when they're having fun.
Okay, very good. Next up is Marty Miller.
Thank you, Richard. One of the concepts that you championed when you were on the council was walkability. And I always thought that was a great concept. I thought you did a great job, and I'd like to extend that concept as far as we can take it. Secondly, I think we need more gathering places. And the key one that's already been approved, and part of where I think we can help business is by helping them to get started, and partnering with them is Main Street, which will provide a gathering place in a downtown area for us. The park program that we have is pretty good. It's excellent, actually, but there's more things that we can do with the parks. For example, we can look for opportunities to provide a full-sized cricket field. I myself love the parks and spend time every weekend actually running or hiking in Rancho San Antonio or Fremont Older. But I think there's a number of things that we can do still to improve on our fun in the city. Thank you.
Very good. And Homer knows he's next. So Homer's up. Homer, what would you like to do to make it more fun to be here?
I tell you what, some of the other candidates have done a very good job. But one thing that has not been pointed out, and that's one area I really like to do more, is to see the city connecting more with our schools. For example, we have games. We have some of them, really exciting games. And talking about complaints by your daughters, my sons also complain about not having enough things to do, at least for that age group. But I think that our high school really, we have so many talented high school kids are doing all kinds of whether it's performance, whether it's games, we need to kind of to be more connected with each other. And I think that there are many areas that we can really explore in. We have done cooperation like taking care of traffic on McClellan and so on. But really, it's getting the total community involved and seeing what areas that we can really connect with each other. So I want to put up the schools and all their programs to be open to everyone so that, you can really enjoy some very wonderful work that's done by our students.
All right, good. I think that's a good diversity of ideas. I'm glad to hear them. Now's the time for closing statements. The candidates have been so good about being on time. We have a little more time, so I'll throw a little wrench in the works here by asking our timekeepers to give each one of the candidates 90 seconds instead of a minute. We'll be very generous and get them a little bit off of their prepared speeches as well. So let's start that with Chris Zhang. You've got 90 seconds.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for hearing us out. And I think this year you will be making a very important decision that will affect the city for many, many years to come. You've heard from me and my opponents, and there has been a lot of talk about what's happened in the past. But I think what we need to pay attention to and what really matters is what's going to happen in the future. And I think I can do a lot for our city in the future. I believe the technology will make our schools strong and keep our property values high. I believe that we can give our citizens more voice in the city government without jeopardizing the efficiency of our government. And I believe that the most important thing is to keep your mind and your ears open, and that's what I plan to do on the city council, and I respectfully ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Next up is Gilbert Wong with a closing statement.
I'd like to say thank you very much to the Cupertino Rotary Club for sponsoring this event. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve the residents of Cupertino as your council member as well as your mayor. The hardest part is not running for election or for running for re-election, is actually sitting up on the dais and making good public policy decision. How can you work together with your staff? How can you work together with your colleagues? How can you work together with your community and other stakeholders? And that is not an easy task, especially for the last 2 years here on this council. Please join the Sierra Club, Congressman Mike Honda, State Senator Joe Simidian, State Senator Paul Fong, Supervisor Liz Nis, as well as Vice Mayor Mark Santoro, Councilmember Orrin Mahoney, and 5 former Cupertino mayors to support my re-election. My website is Gilbert Wong, GilbertWong.org. But look at our wonderful website at Cupertino.org, because I'm always telling people to look at our city website. And again, I'd like to say thank you for coming. And also, I respectfully ask for your vote for my re-election on November 8th. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. Gilbert, it sounds like you miss me. Next up is Homer Tong.
Thank you.
Closing statement.
Again, thank you for your spending time here with us today and listening to us. I want to just conclude by saying for a city to prosper, we need to have, obviously, excellent schools and good businesses to support the many wonderful programs that we have in the city. And we've already touched a little bit on the businesses, so I want to kind of get back about to schools, because it has been said even that Cupertino is about schools. The reason that we have really healthy, let's say, real estate type of situation is that there's so many people that want to come to this city because of the schools, and therefore our property values, is kept up, and actually a lot of sales are happening and taking place pretty fast. So we need to find ways to support our schools in every way we can. Here on the city council, I see, there's a lot of you folks here that, have maybe a little bit more, I would even say that more business experience. But in the city council, we need to have balance. And I want to be the person that really connects with my 5 terms on the school board, to connect the schools to the city council, so that it's not just we're looking at the situation or connection with cities given a given time, but rather week in, week out. So because by promoting each other, we can make our city even that much better, and it would also maintain its desirability. Thank you.
You guessed right, Rod. You're up.
Oh, great. Thanks. Every person in the city has interests, and our government was founded, our country was founded on the idea that everyone's voice should be heard. My approach is to listen out, reach out and listen to good ideas from every corner. In office, I will be accessible to all, working to understand diverse views, and then seeking common ground on which to build consensus. That's the business of government. It's reaching consensus and governing well and efficiently. When it comes time to vote, you can be certain that I will put residents' interests first. I also take a broad view on what is the proper business of the city. The schools are the jurisdiction of the school board. Lehigh is the jurisdiction of the county and other entities. And yet we have interests in how the schools work. We have interests in the environment that know no boundaries. And we really have to work collaboratively to solve the bigger issues in our community. If you believe we can do more to support our top-rated schools, if you believe creating dynamic business and retail opportunities is good for Cupertino, and if you believe our air, water, and land are worth protecting for us and for our children, then I'd ask you to vote for me, Rod Sinks. And see my website, rodsinks.com. Thank you.
Very good. Marty, your closing statement. You've got 90 seconds.
Thank you. And I want to thank the Cupertino Rotary for hosting this event. During my 31 years as a Cupertino resident, I volunteered my time in many ways, including soccer coach, school site council, Rotarian, and planning commissioner. I do that because I believe if you live in a community and you derive benefits from that community, you have a responsibility to contribute back to that community. Community involvement is a big part of what makes Cupertino a special place. Through my many years of business and planning commission experience, I've developed a keen understanding of how to govern our city effectively and how to make it an even better place than it already is. On the council, I'll focus immediately on the areas that residents consider most important. Addressing neighborhood issues such as traffic congestion and street repair, growing our retail, helping Apple be successful here, and ensuring the health and safety of our residents. Please vote for me, Marty Miller, on November 8th. Thank you.
Thank you, Marty. And Donna, you get the final word of the afternoon.
Last but not least, I'm Donna Austin. As an effective teacher, I can build consensus. I will fight to preserve the character of Cupertino, the history that has gone before, the entrepreneurial spirit that was here way back with the families, the Pickettis and the Callies and the Dixons, and they all started this. And it's exciting to see. If you know where you've been, you'll know where you're going. No one has more experience than me in education. I would love to see more collaboration with our schools, and I will work to do that. I ask that you vote for me, Donna Austin, and my webpage is www.donnaforcupertino.com. And vote for me, the only woman here. We've had women since 1974. That's quite a few years, and it'd be really sad not to see at least one on the council. We have a certain perspective, and I think it's important to have that in Cupertino. So vote for me, Donna Austin. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. I think Donna's picked up on an issue that's hard to argue with from the other candidates.
None of them can say.
That's very good. Well, of course, nobody gets the final word but me. I've arranged things that way, and that's why I'm here. I think you have to say we're fortunate to have 6 people running for 2 seats. In the history of Cupertino, we've had times when we've had to beg former council members to stay in their seat because nobody wanted to run. So we are really lucky to have such an engaged community, and it doesn't always feel like you're so lucky when they're engaging against you or they're sending you nasty emails. But it is good for the community to be like this and to have people fighting over 2 seats, and so we're fortunate. What matters the most really is that you vote in the first Tuesday in November. So I'll hope you do that if you haven't sent in your ballot by then. I'll say something on behalf of the candidates. When you're running for this, it's hard work. And so if one of them gave a message today that resonates with you, you might want to offer to help them, because it is very challenging. I walked to 2,700 homes, and it's a small portion of our homes, but during my first candidacy I did that, and it's taxing. And you get thrown out, and you had to kiss babies and things that a shy person like me at the time wasn't so good at. So please, if you like what you heard from one of these candidates, come up to them after the event and see if you can help them out, help them get their message out. Basically, that's what you're doing. You're helping educate the voters so that we get the right person in office. I think we can't lose with these candidates. So I'd like to wrap up by asking you to thank them all for coming here today and for being willing to sacrifice so much of their life to the Cupertino community.